Starting it right now.
Okay. I'll call to order the Fountain County Council meeting for November 12th, 2024. We've been sent the minutes from the October 15th, October 21st, October 28th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to any of those minutes?
I think we need to vote on the 28th separately because Jim McKee was not there.
Okay. So October 15th and October 21st, any corrections to any of those? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Kelly, second?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
7 of them. Okay, and then the October 28th minutes. Is there any additions or corrections to those? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept those minutes?
Yes. I'll second.
And Jeff made the motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
6-0.
I'll pass it around. On the one that Jim doesn't sign, I gotta know, don't sign it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, report of collections is submitted. Is there a motion to acknowledge the report of collections for the ambulance, health department, and the sheriff for October 2024? Jim,
Second that.
Denise, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Review and acknowledge the treasurer's bank reconciliation and monthly comparison reports for October 2024, along with the monthly fund comparison reports. Or a motion to acknowledge those. Tom, second.
I'll second.
Helen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And next is Wabash River Greenway Project by Crossing the Heart.
Yeah, so I'm going to take off my council hat now and just be the director of the Western Indiana Community Foundation. The council and commissioners have been gracious over the last couple of years to appropriate up to $450,000 for the Wabash River Greenway Project, which is a 9/10 of a mile stretch of multi-purpose asphalted trail along the Wabash River. So it's been a lengthy project to go through the permitting process, the design and engineering work, the feasibility studies when you're down along the Wabash. But we've done all that. That was completed this summer. And we were actually able to send it out for bids in October. Bids came in. You all have the report on the value of the bids. The bids ranged from $529,000 to $974,000. So 2 weeks from today, the Western Indiana Community Foundation will take action on one of the 3 bids that they received. And the plan would be that the project could start as early as Christmas, if not in early 2025. Most likely early 2025, but if the weather continued to cooperate and it's dry, it could go forward immediately. So what I'm looking for, again, is just the council's and eventually the commissioner's willingness to appropriate that $450,000 for 2025.
Dale, when will that project start, you say? Early Christmas 2025?
If we sign the contract on the 19th or soon thereafter, as soon as the contractor's ready to go, it could happen in December, most likely in January 25.
Okay, and as I told Dale, And we're waiting to hear from DLGF, because I don't know if we have to have a bill before it can be. Any money can be appropriated, or if just or the bidding process being approved. They have not answered, but no matter what, there does have to be an additional advertised. The commissioners will have to vote on it, and then it'll come to the council to vote on, so. Or the action can be taken on that. Anyone have any questions?
I'm running out of that, isn't it?
Pardon me?
I'm running out.
Well, that's not our amendment.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Anything else then?
Commissioners meet on the second, is that right, Raquel? Or, calling December second, commissioners?
Yes, sir.
Never have to advertise, it won't be
And also
advertised.
the 18th,
What,
the next commissioners of the 18th.
the 18th, okay.
So they can vote and then have two guys on the 16th of December.
Yeah.
That's what it's all.
Thanks, Dale.
What's that?
That's it for me.
Okay, from Wynn, we have Johnny Park, Odette Taylor, and Jason Stonesider.
All right. Had some handouts for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for allowing us to be here. No, you're good. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Good presents.
And my name is Johnny Park. I'm the CEO of Wynn. This is actually my 30th year in this region. I came to Purdue as an undergrad student 30 years ago and met my wife here and got married, and all my 4 children were born and raised in this region. Didn't know that I would still be here after 30 years, but here we are. I was a professor at Purdue University for a while and started my own business. And so I guess all that to say, this region has given us, our family, an incredible opportunity, both personally and professionally. So we're very, very appreciative of this region. And I'm grateful that I'm able to work for an organization like Wynn to really prosper this region further. So Wynn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It was funded originally by the Lilly Endowment about 7 years ago. And our ultimate mission is to bring more prosperity to the region. And our core strategy is to accelerate the real use of technology, primarily by farmers and manufacturing companies in our region. And the reason is that we believe that if we can become a region where emerging technology is being adopted and used faster than any other region in the world, that we're going to have a competitive edge, and our business is going to have more competitive edge. It's going to bring more investment, and it's going to lead to ultimately regional prosperity. So everything that we do is about how do we increase the adoption of digital technologies in farms and factories and schools and municipalities. So if you see in your handout, there is a regional impact. So I won't go through all of it, but I just want to say that recently we worked with a third-party organization called Teconomy to assess our impact over the last 7 years. And according to their report, they estimated our impact has produced $138 million worth of regional impact. That's about 3.5 times of original Living Endowment's investment to our region. Mostly again, farms, factories, quality of life, broadband, and many projects we have initiated. And so you could take some time to take a look. But I want to focus my presentation in all the activities and impacts that we've had in Fountain County specifically. So you'll have a handout that looks like something like this, Fountain County impact, and I'll ask you to draw your attention here. So we have made over $2 million of direct investments in Fountain County over the years. So I'm going to go through some of those activities. That includes $271,000 in grants to all 3 school corporations in Fountain County. It was used for purchasing devices and technology for schools. We have funded for Fountain County's entrepreneurship program, and thus far it's supported 12 small businesses, and there are 22 additional applicants through this program. We have installed 10 weather stations in Fountain County, including at Covington High School and Attica High School. We provided a $1 million grant for master plan for the Wabash Greenway Trails. What we have information is Fountain County has leveraged over $1.37 million in implementation dollars out of that. We deployed 2 broadband systems, one in Attica and one in Petersburg. And we have partnered with a local internet service provider, ResNet, to serve underserved and unserved areas in Fountain County. We've also provided Wi-Fi services at the Fountain County Fairgrounds. We have recently completed a project with City of Attica to monitor water pumps for preventative maintenance. And then you will see a packet of postcards in front of you. And those are 14 murals that we have funded throughout the region. And I'm happy to say that 4 of those are in Fountain County. So you may recognize this right here in Covington. This is another one in Covington. This one is in Attica. And this one is in Petersburg. So all those murals were funded by us and working with Fountain County. So why I know Fountain County has incredibly been supportive, and we appreciate the partnership, and it's all about the partnership. And today I want to tell you that again, all the works that we have done is still beginning, and we have incredible enthusiasm for this region, and we can become a leading region in the United States, leading the charge and bring more prosperity for our community. And as I mentioned, most of our activities around accelerating technology adoption in farms and factories, now in schools and municipalities. And I asked one of the farmers in Fountain County, Jason, who's been working with WIN for a number of years now, just kind of share his perspective of experience of working with WIN. So.
Yes, yeah, thanks, Johnny. Yeah, as Johnny mentioned, I'm Jason Stonecypher, for those of you who don't know me. I'm just here on the west side of Covington with my family. And so I'm a farmer and business owner who affects our seed dealership as well. So we have multiple businesses that we run. I was approached probably 5 or 6 years ago, I think, by WIN to be a part of their startup group. I think we were one of the first 2 people in the county to be invited to be a part of that group. So it was an honor to do that. I've been involved with them from basically the beginning, I believe, that if I remember right, and have been kind of a huge advocate for them. They brought a lot of technology to our farm that we would never had exposure to had we not been a partner with WIN. We've done, I counted up this morning, 7 different technology pilots with WIN. Some have worked, some have not. Some have been really good. There's a handful that I'm still using today that I believe are making money on the farm. One of them is aerial imagery that we use. It's highly detailed imagery of our fields that is flown with an airplane once a week. And I'm addicted to that. I look at it every week when it comes in, and we're seeing what areas of the farm performing, what aren't. And those are things that add directly to my bottom line. And so there's been some things that haven't worked. Johnny and I were just talking about a combine monitor system that we tried a year ago that didn't work. But I told him, I said, I would have never had access to that technology, wouldn't even have known about it, to be honest, had when not been beta testing this technology. So I'm a huge proponent of what you guys are doing. We have a weather station. We have actually 2 weather stations that we got that Wind provided us as a part of the program that we use daily. They help us monitor weather on opposite parts of our geography that we're farm. I see what Wind is doing, and being a part of an organization like this, you're kind of skeptical when you go into, yeah, they're gonna promise a lot of fluff and not gonna do a lot with it. I can say under Johnny's leadership, they have done exactly what they promised to do. It's been very refreshing to me to be a part of an organization that truly does care about our community, and you see the passion that Johnny's got in this area, and that's the way he leads as well. So I was a part of the steering committee that went through the evaluation of the program. That was a very well done process by Techonomy, which is a very well respected third party advisory group. And so that process went very smoothly, and they recommended to keep the foot on the pedal and keep going. So if you look at the numbers, I think it's a $20,000 investment. Is that right? And they've invested $2 million in Fountain County. I mean, to me, it's pretty good ROI. And so I want to encourage you guys to keep investing and allow them to bring things like wireless internet. Another example, I was a member of the 4-H Council for a number of years, still am actually. They brought wireless internet to the fairgrounds, and we were struggling to find a wireless internet connection out there at the fairgrounds. When it stepped up and brought in some mobile devices, and we had internet, and that's kind of a game changer when you're trying to find a county fair with no internet. So it's kind of what you need for the Fountain County 4-H program. But yeah, I think if you look at the numbers, I would challenge you to find something that's going to return you that kind of account. So that's great. Questions for me? Questions?
So your weather stations just private weather stations, or can anyone access your weather to know what's going on that's different?
I believe they are part of the Davis Network Station, but you have to have access.
Yeah. So so most of our weather stations, we have deployed a total of 160 weather stations throughout the entire 10-county region, 10 of which are in Fountain County. Most of them are available publicly. So if you have an access, so just approach to us and we'll give you an access to all those weather stations.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a farmer, so weather is
Yes.
paramount.
Yeah, I don't have a rain gauge anymore. I just use the weather station. Absolutely. No. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. So I'll just close by, again, thank you for your support in the last 3 years. $20,000 a year for the last 3 years, incredible, meaningful. Because as Wind, we're nonprofit, we're constantly going out externally, federal grants, state grants, other private foundations. We've been very successful in the last 7 years, and we're going to continue to pursue additional grant opportunities and funding opportunities. And local support is very important, because what that signals to external funders is that our work is being appreciated here. That means a lot to other big foundations and federal grants agencies. So I'm here to request for the renewal of your commitment to financially support Wind. And I would respectfully request that you consider increasing your annual contribution to $30,000 over the next 3 years. That's $90,000, and that's a little less than 5% of our total investment that we've made in Fountain County.
That's one other thing I want to add is how many companies, and you guys know better, right? How many companies are knocking on the door saying, hey, we want to invest in wireless technology in Fountain County? Is that a large number? So how many companies like Wind are knocking on the door of the county saying, hey, we want to invest in wireless technology and broadband, internet of things? You mentioned, I think you're doing a pilot with the pumping station at to monitor pumps. And, that provides a little payback, but, as far as the downtime on a water pump in a city, these companies are knocking on the door of the county saying, hey, we want to invest in broadband technologies. Is that a big list?
Well, they would have to go to the commissioners first, and then that information is supposed to be fed to the council, but sometimes we don't always get all the information. So sometimes the council doesn't know who's knocking on our door at any given time without the commissioners forwarding that information,
Yeah,
so.
But the list would be zero in terms of a non-for-profit organization
Yeah.
coming to our county to doing that. So Johnny doesn't work for a corporation or for a business. It's purely a 501c3 non-for-profit organization that relies upon grants, private donations, things of that nature. And so he's just paying it forward into Fountain County. The Community Foundation's been not only does he do other things, the Community Foundation was a $50,000 recipient of a grant that we rerouted to local libraries, Petersburg Depot. I think the playground at the fairgrounds was one of those. So he's done a lot, or his organization has done a lot, even though it's not local. And I know we always like to have them based locally, and he'll be the first to tell you he's out of the Tippecanoe County. He employs Fountain County people for him. So I just appreciate the work that you've done in our relationship. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, we don't really look at, Fountain County or Tippecanoe County, White County separately. We consider really this 10-county region as a whole unit, right? And it's really important for us that we treat this region very strategically and equitably, right? And so it's been top of our mind to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the region, not just in one county at a time separately. So that's been very, very important for us as an organization.
Farming and municipalities and agribusinesses are progressive. They're not going to go south, they're going to progress. And I see it where I work for the co-op in agribusiness that's just happening in unique wireless. And I help a young farm and he did not have any idea what coming with that. Technology was in his equipment until I started helping him, and it's huge. It's huge, and they're not going to quit. They're going to be going forward with that. So, in municipalities, as those things grow in water pumps, water systems, sewage systems, they're going to need wireless, and I know that for a fact. So I'd encourage the commissioners to fund it. There's no commissioners here today. I hope they're listening, and those who are elected to come in, which is a pet peeve of mine, not here. But I encourage them to, and I will. But I see this. I just see that personally.
That's one thing, as a farmer, that definition technology, I can log into my phone and see my combine setting it while I'm sitting in the elevator and I have a semi.
But it's not only
And
that.
that's coming to municipalities, and maybe you already have it, I don't know. But when as a company, I know that's going to be in that technology. We can demo some of the technology that is the freaks from that I'm thinking of. It's going to prevent downtime. It's going to prevent, it's going to allow preventative maintenance rather than downtime.
But as you and I know, agribusinesses have to use it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
And the county's gonna get, the Internet of Things is a big thing that Johnny talked about a lot. It's a big focus is bringing things online that you couldn't see before, like a pump motor and a pumping station. And that's gonna be huge in the future.
But both ag and agribusinesses are not going, they're going to progress and they're going to better.
Those specific examples are what I think people need to hear, like what Jason said. So you mentioned 12 small businesses that you've helped in the county, and I don't know if you can give names, I'm not looking for names, but can you give some specific examples of ways you've helped the small businesses, like the weather stations and
Right.
can you give some of those examples?
Sure. So I don't know those names.
Yeah.
So those are specifically through entrepreneurship program that we funded. So there's a local champion in Fountain County who gathers small businesses who want to take some courses about, okay, how do we do financial planning? How do we do digital marketing, right? So those are courses that we provide to any entrepreneurs in local counties. And so that program was funded through us, and we know that at least 12 businesses have graduated from that program, and there are 23, 24, 22 additional applicants that are waiting. So that's one part of the program.
Right.
And then we have, I think, 8 farmers that are participating as a network. And they use our weather stations, all the technologies that we bring, including Jason, Stone Cypher. And so we're constantly looking for more farmers, more manufacturing companies.
So they need to contact you if they want to
That's
join
right,
on.
yeah.
That's all.
So even though we've been around for 7 years, we're still relatively young and not well known.
Mhm.
And so what really works is that folks like Jason or yourself who knows and hears about us and, hey, you should really talk to Win. Because again, we're nonprofit, we're here to help. But sometimes when somebody knocks on your door, hey, we want to help you with technology, we're kind of faced by skepticism, it's like they want to sell something to me, right? So really, a personal connection, personal introductions to farmers, local businesses, those are really welcoming for us.
I'd encourage everybody to sign up for their e-newsletter. You can go to their website, win.org, and it's a short and sweet newsletter. I think even promoted that as short and sweet, like 1,000 words or something.
Under 100 words.
Under 100 words in their emails that go out. So you can just sign up and you can get a lot of meat during those periodic emails that come out.
The other thing to consider too is the next generation that's coming up. The younger generation is technology savvy. Is there ways that Win can incubate business startups, technology hubs, work centers, that sort of thing? How do we bring jobs back to Fountain County? I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about incorporating technology into that conversation. You know, Win would be in the center of that conversation.
If I may just inject one more point. So as working with local farmers and manufacturing companies is so important. And again, we want to help them adopt the newest technologies that we vet and promote. But what happens is that these technology companies that may be in Brazil or Canada or Europe, as this region adopts technologies faster, it's very attractive for them to have more physical presence in a region. So a case in point, there was a company in Brazil called Slimtech. We worked with them for a number of years. Many of the farmers adopted this autonomous robot that can do see and spray operations. I know some farmers in Fountain County also adopt this technology, but this region actually had become a central place for them, and the most farmers are adopting in our region than anywhere else. So it's very attractive for them to move their headquarters to this region, and they're producing more. They have hired over 70 people in the last 3 years in this region, and they have decided to manufacture those robots here in this region, right? So it's not just helping existing local businesses, existing farmers, that's very, very important, but it's also attracting other businesses to have more physical presence in our region because our region is adopting the technologies faster. So that's another cascade of benefits that our region is having by attracting those high growth companies to have more physical presence.
Anything else?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next we have Ready Grant Child Care, Julie Berry, Project Manager, Lauren McCool, right status.
I had emailed over a presentation yesterday. I'm not sure if you guys got it. I sent it to Pauline and Dudley. If not, that's not a big deal.
I printed it, but I don't know,
Oh.
because I don't have it.
I made a hard copy just in case, so. Yesterday?
Yes.
It was around like 6 o'clock, I think.
It was sent to John, still send stuff to John's email. I tried to get the change to a different one and. That I printed out.
But I got the printout too, so
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so hi, my name is Laura McCool. I am with Right Steps. Right Steps is a childcare agency in Tippecanoe County. We operate 5 childcares in the area as well as 3 in Jasper and Newton County. In conjunction with operating our 9 childcares, we also provide advocacy work for our surrounding counties, just to be that think partner and that connector, and helping different childcares find different grants and different state programs that can help them out. In Fountain County, you guys currently have 148 licensed capacity seats, and that is spread out over 4 different childcares. So you guys have the Fountain Warren Head Start, the Southeast Fountain Elementary School, Attica Early Learning, and Covington Christian School. 3 of those childcares that I mentioned only serve preschool age, so that's 3 through 5. And then the Attica Early Learning does 4 through 5. So you guys currently only have 1 childcare that does that birth age, which is a really hard age to find care for, since you can only care for 8 babies in a childcare. Your current demand for childcare is 873. So we're at a deficit of 725 seats, that there's just not childcare available. Parents can find childcare through unlicensed in-homes. I know as a director in Lafayette, I had several families from Fountain County that would come to my childcares, and I had several staff. So I had people that were teachers, they live in the Attica area, and they would actually drive on over to Lafayette to work because there was just no place for them to be a teacher in early childhood education. So the Ready Grant that I help manage for Tippecanoe County and surrounding, so part of that is the Fountain, Warren, we also do White and Benton counties. With matchings of funds provided by Fountain County and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, Right Steps was entrusted with helping both new and existing childcare programs expand their capacity and enhance the quality of their services. So you guys had $40,000 designated to fund 40 new childcare seats at $1,000 each, as well as a capacity building mini grant. So we started this effort really in end of 2023. So this year we really hit it hard, boots on the ground, to identify those different childcares in Fountain County that either want to expand or become licensed. We have found Cap Kids 3 and we've awarded them 8 seats. They're a Head Start program in Covington area. So they're going to open a new toddler room. And then as well as STEAM Academy Attica, which is going to open up a new 107 seat facility in Attica, which is going to be huge for your guys' community. I'm really excited to see that kind of start off. They're hoping to begin construction either end of this year or beginning of January, with a kind of a start date of hopefully this early spring. I think that's going to bring a lot to you guys and give you something to offer to the community. Just some things looking forward. The Ready Grant runs through March of 2026. We have 32 seats left to fill. Part of that mini grant that I mentioned before would be going to the STEAM Academy Attica. You guys also have a Warren and Fountain County coalition that I am a member of. They're working really hard to, again, bubble up those different programs that are wanting to expand or become licensed. They've been having childcare provider call outs. They're tossing around the idea of having like a babysitter class for teenagers. And they're really a great group of people that are really invested in childcare in your area. And then there's also a college and community collaboration initiative. That is the Wabash Heartland area. That is together with Purdue University, and that is providing a Purdue Extension worker that will be sitting in your community to help bridge the gap for childcare. Again, to be that advocate for your community, help train educators in your community, and then be that kind of point person for those programs that you currently have. They are having a forum November 19th, and then they're gonna have a huge regional childcare summit and invite people from the community and teachers for additional training and just kind of to get a heartbeat on what is going on in the different counties. So that's kind of all I had to share. Does anybody have any questions?
Could you forward that, when you get that document from her, could you forward that to us all?
Yeah.
The STEAM Academy, is that part of the STEAM Academy out of Tiffany County?
Yes, so they
It's an arm.
so they currently have a location in Lafayette, West Lafayette, and that is with the River City Community Church.
Okay, so that's gonna be in the old Assembly of God Church in Attica, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So they'll have their childcare, and then they also have a satellite church that they'll bring to the area as well.
How many seats would that be?
107.
What about what about the old elementary school in Attica?
They don't do it, I don't think they do it anymore. That was all grant driven and the grant.
So they moved into the new the Attica Free Methodist Church. And I believe it was in an old nursing home. So they have opened up 3 classrooms so far. They're still doing renovations in their building to get their church moved in, and once the church is moved in, they are going to open up another classroom, which they could get ready funds for that as well.
Which I think their church is opening by year end.
Yes. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out their new location, it's gonna be a really cool spot.
If I could, I'd just like to interject, I'm really very well with commerce, and I'm born on the ready funds. The reason for having her come in was, we were actually asking, you guys have paid year 1 of the match funds, the $23,950, on a sign and review. We're looking for you guys to go ahead and pay for years 2 and 3 possibly, because they've met their required seats within the MOU and all the requirements that were listed in here. So we're actually looking for those funds, so we can actually pay those out to them for the work that they're doing and they've done. For that agreement, so that's kind of why we're here today.
So I have a question. When it started 2 years ago? 2 years ago, this fund like 23,000. I'm just asking you, what are you doing with that money? You're asking for a 3-year commitment, which is fine. I'm all for you. We just need to know what you do with it.
What we do with it?
Yeah, what you want to do with that 23,000, just our part. You know, we're part of another big part. It's the way I sound here today.
Those
So
funds,
how are you working with
the
it?
23,950 per year is actually going back to Right Steps. It's the match that was required by IBC for Ready One. For the funds that were committed to them that were awarded, there was a 1-to-1 match that each of the counties committed funds to, and Warren County committed to Fountain County committed to the 23,950 per year to go back to Right Steps for the work they are performing. It's for number of seats created. It's actually for the coalition activities, legal fees, administration fees, a multitude of things.
So if this Attica STEAM
Yes.
is 107 seats, are they getting $107,000?
So they would be getting that $74,000, the $74,000 in the mini grants that was also set aside in addition to the 40 seats. So we decided, I worked with Rod Manning, and he was in contact with the commissioners on how to spend that mini grant funds. And we decided that it would be more smart to give it to that Attica STEAM Academy, and then leave that 32 additional seats to different programs that could come up throughout the year.
Another question is, what does a day look like for not the Ready Grant, but for this Child Step, Right Step? What does a day look like for these individuals being in these various schools, not schools, but various situations? What do they do? What are you doing with that 2-year-old? What are you doing with that 5-year-old? How are we working with these kids?
So, to
Are
answer
we,
that-
are we babysitting? Are we just babysitting these kids? What are we doing with them?
Yeah, so Indiana has a system called the Path to Quality, and what that is, it's a different level system to identify a quality childcare program. And so part of the program's commitments for being on the Ready program would be to get that different levels of quality. So that would be having a set curriculum, the teachers are going through 20 hours of training a year. They have that diploma either in a CDA, which is a Child Development Associate's degree, all the way up to a bachelor's. And they're providing to promote early learning into the classroom. So it's not just babysitting, they're doing activities. A lot of them will do play by learning, which is they're really incorporating all of that learning. The kids don't really know what's going on, but they're just playing and then they're picking up those concepts along the way.
I have another question. What do the parents, what do the parents pay? And what are the hours? When do you start and when's the end of the day?
So that would really depend on the program. So they're the ones that would have that right to choose how much they charge and as well as their hours of operation. If parents meet a certain threshold, they could be qualified for childcare vouchers through the state, which is through that child development funds, the CCDF. But that's depending on how much those parents would make. But those funds and how those are set, those weekly tuitions is really set by each program. So we don't really have a say in how much they would charge. I know it's a really hard line these days with the wages for your labor are going up, so your employees. When I first started in 2017, we paid our employees $7.25 an hour, and we gave them a $9 raise, and that meant something. And then in 2021, I couldn't get anybody in my door for $15 an hour. And then also since the pandemic, the supplies have also increased. So those providers really walk that straight line of they want to make sure that their childcare is affordable for the parents, but they also know the bottom line of I need to pay my employees and I need to get those supplies in for them.
The academies that you see represented maybe throughout the state. I live in Tennessee, pretty close to academy, in which many kids would come in. I could walk early in the morning and walk late at night. The reason why I'm asking the question, the parents would show up morning 6 o'clock, drop off the child, and then pick them up maybe 6 o'clock in the evening, maybe 7. That's a long day. And also I saw them play. I wondered what they did. And I also checked how expensive it was. It's enormous. So that's the type of thing I'm all for childcare.
Yeah.
I want to see them improve. I'd like to see them educated. And if there's a fee, somebody may not be able to pay that fee. But I'd like to see that person that can't, to get involved in that program. Because these kids need to be educated. I also just heard a minute ago about technology. And it's phenomenal what these kids can learn. So that's what I'm interested in. Another question I have, leaders, because they have schools, they have daycare. How does that get involved with Right Step?
So
Is it possible?
yeah, it is.
And that may not be the only one, because I interviewed 3 principals. I interviewed 3 principals a year and a half ago. And I asked them, they had parents driving to Danville to take care of your child. Okay? So where I'm going with it, I did it at Attica, I did it at Fountain Central. That's a big problem all for you. What's the parent gonna get out of this? Is it safe? Can they count on these people? Because you hear too many stories, things happen. So that's where I'm coming from. I don't think this would happen in this development, but I have to ask. Now, it sounds like to me you got a good program, $23,000 a year is hardly nothing. You're taking care of kids because everybody, when they leave, they want to make sure everybody's safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
So I want to clarify the money one more time, so I understand this. So we committed to giving 23,000 and change for 3 years. So 69,000 or something. So we know that 72,000 has come back to this advocacy. We know that 8,000 has come back handicapped kids program. And there's still 40,000 available that is kind of earmarked for Fountain County.
32,000.
32,000, okay. 40 minus the 8.
I don't want to interrupt, I have an announcement to make though, that's very applicable to this conversation. We've been working with PCRD, Purdue Research. Center for Rural Development. And they also got a Lilly grant. And we were pressing pretty hard to get a child care advocate in our community. And they were nice enough to accommodate that. So we should be, they've hired, we should have someone starting in the first of the year that's certainly Fountain in Warren County. And they are from here. I haven't met them yet. I don't even have a name, but they will be in place to help us sort out our organic growth. You know, we really need some childcare south of 74. We really need to help Covington as well, if we can. And so they'll help do that, both in networking to find providers, and then also to help with training to help them get off the ground and get going.
Next on the agenda, pause and clause.
Dr. Lucas with Fulton Post. Tracy had emailed with you guys and sent you guys the number that you guys did from last time.
I think one of the biggest questions we had was what the coverage was, and I've been told like Ellenboro's not covered, Kingdom's not covered, Newtown a lot. So really only the township have that, it takes care of their own, and Covington takes care of their own.
Correct.
We were concerned of a, you know, from 22 to 23, it was less than a 6% increase, it was $2,000. Well, then from 23 to 24, it's a 20% increase in the, what we were requesting for the funding, a $7,000 increase. And that really concerned us, and we wanted to know what was being covered, and then we find out towns aren't being covered, and then we're having people are saying, why are we using taxpayer dollars to fund something that they get no benefit for? That was a big question we're hearing. So we'd asked for exactly what number of animals that were collected in the townships that we are paying for, and I really didn't. I'm not sure. It just says Fountain County, if you're including the Attica Hospital. It's just the townships. And it's reported.
So with the one that you guys have received from Tracy, it says like on the side of Fountain County from the end of October. Those are just rural Fountain County, and then on the back of it, it is broke down, just what Fountain County has had. And then like the town of Petersburg, if we help Kingman, if we help Hillsborough, Newtown, those smaller areas that are not within the county. As they have their own contracts. And from the last time, from when she had sent you guys the numbers and the breakdown, we have went up quite a bit. We are currently sitting at 43 dogs and 35 cats. Which puts it at a total of 77 animals at the shelter right now. So we don't have any room for any others currently.
So if you get a call at the current status, what do you do with that animal? Do you take it to another
Through animal control or
just anything?
just anything. So right now for surrenders, we're doing courtesy post. For the family that needs to surrender one of their animals and hoping that that is getting them rehomed. It's been working for right now.
If it's an animal control issue, do you take it to like Montgomery County or Tippecanoe County? Or?
We put it in the pop-up. If we don't have room. So if it's animal control related, depending on what it is, if it's a stray dog, we post the dog on our website. To see if we can't find the owner first to avoid bringing it in for one of our kennels. Through animal control, if it's a dog bite and the dog is up to date on rabies. And the owner has some way of quarantining at home for 10 days, then we're going that route, right?
Okay. So currently, Colleen, what do we owe Paws and Claws? And that will take us through our contract year of 2024, correct?
2024. And has next year's contract been started to negotiate or anything? Okay.
I've not seen a contract or heard anything about the commission.
Okay.
Well, we've got to pay current contract year. We've got to pay that, so. I make a motion to pay the $9,000, which would be the 2,000 for the 2022. And the reason why we have the $2,000 is because of the way the timing issue for the accounting program versus the contract or that current year. And then the 7,000 is to bring us up to date for the 2024 year-end contract. So I make a motion to pay the $9,000.
Maybe a second.
Yeah.
On the very last page here, I think, it says Fountain County has 350 animals. Okay, this was a summary, I guess. Out of that 315 animals, 307 were county. 8 of the animals were from towns not in contracted areas, but was asked to assist with animal control. So you take care, we're talking about the entire county. You take care of the entire county.
So
So what does that mean, not in contracted areas?
So that would be Kingman, Hillsborough, Newtown, Malott, Wallace, those areas that were not an individual contract with at the time.
That we don't cover.
We don't count, that don't count.
Right.
No.
They don't count.
They got 8,
What?
but they got 8 out of those spots.
Yes.
Who paid for those?
Yeah.
Who'd you bill for those?
The town,
Okay, so the town's paid them.
that town. So I can tell you one right now was Newtown. A guy got in trouble and he had animals outside. He had puppies outside. And the county officer that was on call that day had asked for me to go out there and move those animals because he wasn't gonna get out for a while. And it was in the middle of summer. So we went ahead and took them. They needed help. We took them.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Did you advertise?
Rod, do you have a question?
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
So when does it-
Okay, we already-
On the right steps,
Well, maybe one. So as of January, we paid them nothing.
when the right steps was being left, they asked if you were voting to approve or not approve their funding.
It hasn't been advertised yet.
Okay.
And the commissioners will have to vote on it first.
Okay, thank you.
That's not great. Yeah. Sometimes odd is big. You know, one time we also.
On January, we're not paying them anything until the commissioners do a new contract. Is that correct? Okay, I just want to make that clear.
Talked about maybe. What ought to be done is. Let each township trustee sign a contract. And maybe county subsidize the trustees.
Yeah.
for their benefits,
It's not clear.
because-
They almost put
It's not clear the way it is.
Because the taxpayers in Attica are
They're
paying.
double paying.
Yeah, and then they're also paying for the counties.
And then Covington's
So,
paying but not getting any services. I mean, it's,
indeed,
yeah, it's
yeah.
some double paying. It's just
And all the towns.
not right, yeah.
Right, that's not right, so maybe new commissioners need to look at letting the trustees do that. So, how we can hold them. Because if I have a-
Bye, Dale. Have a good day.
Okay, we have some transfers, county general election board. 465.89 from the election board, 364.10, printing and advertising to ballots and instructions, $829.99. And county general, the auditor, $300.25 from training and education to travel and mileage. And county general Purdue extension, maintenance, $700 to travel. County general circuit court, $500 from internet to expert witness. County general ambulance, $4,500 from backup pay to vacation and sick. County general radio dispatch, uniforms, $246.02, and travel and mileage, $45.60 to IDAX for their, because their monthly fee increased from $220 to $299. Local road and street from bituminous, $30,000 to contractual services. And statewide E911 from repairs and maintenance, $2,420 to Social Security. And from travel and mileage, $90 to telephone. And from Cambridge, bituminous, $9,000 to consulting fees.
That last one was what we talked about today.
Yes, the asset management from USI. So is there a motion to allow all these transfers? Okay. Yeah, second. Okay, any questions on any of them? All those in favor? Okay, every year we've always given the auditor permission to transfer the 200 and 300 accounts. When it gets close to the end of the year, to make sure no account goes into red. These are not additional, it's just transfers. Is there a motion to give Colleen that authority?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
Second,
okay, Colleen, Denise, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6-7. We'll do a brief update on the ARPA money that's left. We had a meeting this morning between Colleen, Brenda, and I. And we have a confirmation from the attorney with Barnes and Thornburg, who makes sure that our money is being spent correctly. He says that we can obligate those funds towards a proposed county highway garage project. As long, and we don't have to have it advertised for bills, as long as we have a contract signed between the county and the county highway garage, it will meet all the requirements. And we had an agreement between the three of us that, we would do that. So Ken is supposed to draw up that contract. Commissioners will vote on it on Monday. Hopefully that will be drawn up, and if commissioners approve it, then we can approve it, and that money can be used for county highway garage as long as it's done by December 31st, 2026. Actually, yes, about 2 years. But that will keep us from having to turn that money over to the federal, back to the federal government, so.
So our contract is with the highway department that we're gonna do it, not with a contractor.
Right. And what he says is, the Treasury's 2023 obligation interim final rule says that we can have an interagency agreement between the county and the highway department to complete this project, and that will satisfy the December 31st, 2024 deadline, which will buy us time to do advertising for start. So we wouldn't lose that money in that 3 years.
So do we need a motion? Or do we need to
No,
wait?
we'll wait till this goes on it. Well, that just take care of that. We'll lose that. Yes, Karen.
I guess how much fun that would be.
Approximately about and close to $1.4 million.
That we have access of?
Yeah, our funds, yes. Yes.
Does that match what you had, Carol?
That you can build several buildings, couldn't
It will.
The Amish will do it.
In a perfect world.
Yeah,
In 1980.
we'll see when it goes out for bids, but yes, it was. Like it's a little less than 1.4, but we're going to do the contract for 1.4 because can't spend more, but if we have a little bit more than we're covered, it's.
X amount of dollars.
Yeah, we put it
but
at the
not
exact-
exceed. So if there's.
Give or take.
Fluctuation, we don't have to give back.
And 1 month had interest on that went into that fund and it's supposed to go into county general, so please something like that.
That doesn't hurt us if the building costs 1.7 million. We can pay the difference.
We can say the difference,
Okay,
right,
that's-
yes, we're just
okay.
spending the 1
It's not to.
Well, you said that, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But we won't lose that money. Okay. Next is the Envoy invoice, and the commissioners tabled it and. I know they had an executive session about it. There's some questions on whether. Amoresco and the Artura bills are included in that 42,000 they're trying to collect from us. And so my suggestion is that we table it until commissioners are requesting a full accounting of what these bills are, so. So I'm going to table that.
Motion to
Okay.
table it.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I kind of back up.
Sure.
There's no proper money committed to Maple Corner then?
Correct.
No, because it's actually, it says.
Just want to make sure.
Annex/capital outlay, so we don't have to do anything because it's capital outlays and capital outlay would be the. So as soon as we get this agreement signed by the commissioners, then they will go to the county highway garage today.
That's great.
Okay. Department heads, any department heads?
Just keep you updated and see the collections are looking pretty good. Cat's doing a pretty good job with that. We did run into a couple obstacles of Medicare, which I think we've got that corrected. She worked with the software company on it. It was a modifier we had to change. We weren't getting paid mileage from Medicare. So we went back in, we were able to resubmit those, so we should get the pay on that. Runs, we're holding around, we're still. I mean, we're down from what we were last year, but if I remember, I told you, we don't do transfers out of Williamsport anymore. Like we used to, they're doing those now. Back to the nursing home and the assisted living. Last thing is, late last week, I got an email, there's a grant out there called the AFG grant, the Assistance Firefighters Grant. We have applied for that before. We were awarded back in 2006. We got PPE for that. I did try to apply for it in 2016 for monitors. We were not awarded it. I think we found out that we didn't have a specific number. Back then it was called a SAM number, which is the Systems Awards Management number. We backed off of it because there was going to be a year of cost to do it. Since then, Joe and Tina has worked on that and we're updated on it. We do have that current number. It's now called the UEL number. So we are able to apply for federal grants. I would like to pursue this grant. It's a 95-5. So they provide 95% of the fund, and then we have to come up with the 5%. Kind of looking at maybe the monitors, the monitor defibrillators, part of that was in that asset management program, potentially doing that. We're early, it just opened today. It closes on the 20th of December. So we got some time. I'm gonna go to the commissioners on Monday with it, and I'll be back with you guys on the 16th.
Do you know,
Want to pursue it.
do you know how much that grant total is if you were awarded it?
It does 95% of the fund, so whatever we do, if it's 300,000, 400,000,
Mhm.
they'll do 95% of that, and then we have to do the 5% match.
So it's 300,000, we.
Not one, yeah, 15, 20, some, yeah.
20,000, I'd say absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a competitive grant. It's very, there's a lot of guidelines in there. They tell you what the high priority is, medium and low priority. So I've got to look through that and make sure that we can fit in that high priority to be able to get that. So I think that will help a little bit with.
offset.
With the cost of that,
Yep.
so. You guys will go, I'll go to the county commissioners on Monday with it too, but we got a month. Tina and I are gonna work on it together. Cause it is a county grant and we'll have to utilize that UEL number, which is with the county.
Okay.
What was the match percent? 95-5, and so we do the 5%, they do 95%.
Is grant closed?
December 20th. So I'll be back with you guys on the 16th with all the particulars. I'll email you as I'm going through, keep you updated. There could be a potential max that they'll give us. So we'll have to look at that. I'll have to talk with Ken. But I think this will follow above that capital outlay percentage of that $150,000. So I'll check with him and make sure what all we have to do with that. When we get awarded that, so.
What was the name of the grant?
AFG Assistance Firefighter Grant. So back early in the 2000s, it was mainly only for fire departments. And they actually included non-fire-based EMS organizations. They can apply for the grant, and we applied for it back then, and we got PPE, we got like turnout gear basically is what it was. Back then, and then we applied again. Unfortunately, we just didn't get it because we didn't have the proper.
I remember that.
Yeah, so, but I would like to pursue it this time and see if we can help with some of the equipment that we're looking at. So I've got no news on the remount. He was sick last week, so I'm hoping to meet with him this week to find out where we're at on the remount.
Thanks, Garth.
Okay, thanks. Was Aaron here?
He is, he's still.
Aaron, do you have anything?
Nope, big tree on it for me.
Well, we.
Dad's got to pay taxes, so here I am.
Yeah, I know you told me you couldn't be here because your dad's out of town. we did pause and clause, to get the contract taken care of for this year, but you guys will have to do it in the contract next year, or we've also, well, actually, I did talk about maybe having each township take care of, and maybe the county might have to give them some money, but, because it's, I mean, we're double taxing some people. Like Attica, they have their own contract, plus then they're having to pay for our contract when it's only for the township, so, it's something to look at.
And I think Attica is negotiating their contract if they haven't already. I think they're in the process of negotiating for next year, so.
That'll be a review next year, man, we tabled the, envoy until we find out exactly what those invoices are. Of the public safety did not get advertised because, we don't have enough money in public safety. It was going to be advertised out of community capital development. Brenda mentioned she was concerned because the ordinance.
I had no to ask you about that.
Yeah, the ordinance states including but not limited to, so it can't, and we're gonna have over $1 million in community capital development, so I still think it should be advertised out of that instead of digging into our county general, because our county general is already $1 million down from what it started at the beginning of the year, even though we will have money coming in as property taxes.
Read that.
It's provide money for authorized purposes for which property taxes may be imposed in accordance with Indiana Code 36-9-14.5, including but not limited to construction, remodeling, repair of the courthouse, construction, repair, remodeling, enlargement of equipment for the county jail. So it's not limited to those. And we've got excess money in that, and I think we should take that.
That didn't come up in your little meeting, did it? When you told me three of you.
This morning.
No, because that was all,
Only
I
ARPA.
nice art me.
I got you.
I mentioned it to Aaron, told me that, this says. And I had suggested that, next year until. For any additional you have, I suggest you take it out of capital development. Since we did not budget enough, did not advertise enough to budget out of that account for next year, and it's gonna have a surplus.
And you said also seated.
Seated's gonna be down, isn't it?
Yeah, look at my notes.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, see, but I know capital development's gonna have $1.5 million more than what is budgeted for next year, so. Any additionals, you should put it out of there, spend that down, spend that county general. That's my suggestion. Okay. So I think that's something we can.
I'm gonna leave it. Good evening. Comments.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron. Dana's here.
Dana, you have anything?
Good morning. I have two additional I have to ask for the rest of the year. First one is the holiday pay. When I first came in to be director, there was $100 and that was moved to $150. I am asking for $1,950 to finish out the year for the holidays for the dispatchers that pay it. I have $169.76 in the account on that one.
So you're asking for 1,900 and what?
$50.
Okay.
And that's for the holiday pays for the rest of the year.
And you're also, you're in the red on overtime,
That's the next one I'm gonna talk about.
okay?
First of all, I'm gonna apologize because I misfigured and I didn't realize that I was in the red when I asked in October for overtime. Right now I have $3,606.04 in the account that's available. I'm going to need $5,116.20. That's just for the regular overtime pay.
That's not included if anybody calls in sick or they've got vacation they can take or personal. I'm asking for an extra $8,000, which will leave me a little cushion of $2,883.80 for the rest of the year. So my figures were wrong when I first asked in October, so I do apologize for that.
What do you have currently in your overtime?
$3,606.04.
So when you say you need 5,000 and something, you need 5,000 more than the 3,000 not.
Yes,
More.
She needs 5,000 more.
yes, I'm sure 5,000.
Seven change.
87.2214. And that's just for the regular overtime pay. That's not for anything that is extra, which is your sick, personal, or vacation. And that would leave me a cushion of $2,883 and some change. For those additional, if we do have them.
2,000 what?
$883.80.
So for regular overtime, you need $8,722. And then, okay. Mhm.
And I have $3,606.04, but I'm short $5,116.20. So if I ask for the 8, that would leave me $2,883.80.
I need to remind Aaron about. You've got to get a contract
Yes,
with Warren County because all these additionals we're not getting. We're putting the whole bill, because of the contract commissioners
correct.
agree to.
That's all I have. For now.
And that brings up, I sent out an email. That I thought, our meeting scheduled December 9th, and that's just. I think it's too early in the month that. We're gonna have additionals and the commissioners meet on December 16th. I know that Colin's gone here, next meeting will be December 16th at 9 a.m. I think everybody agreed when I sent out the email about changing ours to the 16th, but. My purpose of changing it was to have it after the commissioners meet, so that if there's any additionals or anything we would do to finish up the year. So if we meet on the 16th, they'll have to meet here at 1 p.m. or 5 p.m. because we want to meet after the commissioners. I'm available anytime. So, you can tell me, or if the 16th doesn't work, we can go and. Day or two later, I think a couple people had a couple dates that week, but
I'm free every day that week.
so 16th's okay with everyone,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Let's go for 1.
I would prefer the 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
I could make either one, but I prefer one. So.
1,
Yep.
okay, that's fine with me. I'll use that. Okay, so December 16th.
1 o'clock.
Will be our next, our last meeting of the year. Unless something comes up, we have to do that.
And we could,
Oh, well, I've still got to talk, and then we have to put the company, but I want to get that out. When we're talking about the additional, so.
Okay, I just got this morning from McAllister's generator. I don't know if you guys know, there's been problems, we've been having them come and check stuff. Anyway, they sent a quote this morning, I did show, Aaron, I'll let you look at it. I know, this is just a repair, you can give that to me. Thank you.
How old is it?
2 Oaks,
Huh?
yeah,
How,
CSET bought that.
23, 25. It's only got 5 miles.
how many hours?
5. I don't know why this generator.
Well, to replace the generator of that size, you're talking over $100,000 or more.
it's $19,581.95.
That's what they recommend. We've been having trouble with the antifreeze on radiator, you know, this 27 years old, so I told the guy to go through it and see what he went through it. Really thorough, and that's what he recommended what we do to it. Yeah. I'd probably do it because he can get the parts and do it that day. If you take it, rebuild it, and then you got to bring a portable generator in here.
Is this just to do a repair, or is this repair and maintenance?
That's everything.
That's repaired.
That's just repair. Do they come and maintenance that?
Yes.
Have they already maintenanced it this year?
Yes, they already made this, and then we just made this for the maintenance. Yeah.
I just was thinking if they're gonna come here,
We have, in our council budget for building repairs. We have 83,000 that we haven't spent. So we could take it out of that, not have to advertise. If everybody's in agreement.
I agree, we do that.
I do it.
I'll take that out of our, 44300. Okay.
Colin, you wanna keep that? I have it on here, so do you want me to call them and tell them to go ahead and?
Yeah, it's good. We won't have to. We've got the money budgeted,
Okay.
so, let's get it repaired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comments?
I want to make sure that we get an Amish bid for that highway garage.
Well, it'll be advertised, so I mean, it has to be advertised, and so, you know, somebody, once that gets advertised. Have them, put in the bid.
King Builders. King Builders. Out of Rockville.
Yes.
I kind of like your idea about for the animal control coming to the township, but will that be mandatory for each township to sign up, or will Tina be bringing her stray animals to my town?
I think that's what's happened now with some of the
Well,
towns.
yes, I mean,
The towns that aren't being covered, they just take them out, and drop them in the country.
exactly
They
right.
go to your house.
The whole county's not covered, but yet we're.
Cat sanctuary.
The contract basically says the county, you know,
So what kind of budgets do the towns, the trustees have? I mean, there's already approved 20.
Right, so we might have to subsidize.
What would we subsidize the township? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So instead of having a contract per se with pause and clause, it'll just be ran through the township.
And actually, that's commissioner's call.
Yeah.
They
have to
they will have to decide, the council will have to come up with money. Okay, yes, sure.
What's the acronym for WIN? I mean, is that an acronym for something?
Wabash Heartland Innovative Network.
Yeah, well, that's Heartland Innovation Network. Is Rod still here? This addendum, I don't agree with. That he's. It's saying prorate. They install and that building goes up for sale. And I need to look at the minutes from when we approved that money, but. My understanding and my recollection of that meeting was that. We got our money back if the building ever sold. No prorate. And it was a joint meeting. Andrew Hall made the motion that the commissioners accepted what we agreed to. And they voted to also. So I hope commissioners do not sign this because I don't agree with it. That was not the agreement. That was not how we voted for that money. And we got our money back no matter when it was sold. So.
And their board was here when you made that statement.
Yes, they were.
They were here. They had a full out. And I'll stand behind you on it.
Yeah, that was my understanding also.
Right, because It was 3-3 and I abstained and, they were here and, they said, well, can we do?
It's on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So,
Well, I'd like to know who wrote that addendum too, because if it was written by their attorney, our attorney was not included in that addendum. Because I think that our attorney would have, I hopefully think that our attorney would have said something to the fact of what we voted on.
I have a meeting Thursday. And I don't know that we I may tell them that.
This. I'm sorry, Jeff.
A different than coming up after the first year.
Public. The budget's been very slow. Right, we approve it now, we know it.
But
Just different.
they act like they didn't know that.
yeah, Carol, okay.
Okay, at least say we need child care for over 100 kids, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
So is there a breakdown between first shift, second, third, second and third shift need for childcare?
No, I don't think we have anything
Or
that
it's
breaks it
all
down.
first shift kids we're worried about?
Or is it all three that they lumped together? I don't, that's a good question.
Well, if they're only open until 7 o'clock at night, then it's not gonna take care of the other shift.
Okay, I got a text from the commissioner and Aaron did call Brenda. And they want to know why the council is tabling the ongoing payment. And the firm dollar amount is $25,378.85. Which is 20,000 to Amoresco, and I believe the remaining balance is for the attorney. Our Rio Gigi County. But that is the total amount that is due. And if we do not get this paid, we are looking at a lawsuit.
But they.
So well, they're going to, we just need to. I think they want to know what the council wants to do, because they're gonna vote for this, I'm sure.
Okay.
I think here it is.
Is that how you understand it, Taylor? Did I explain that?
Yes, you explained it correctly.
I guess our question is, because I'm sure they're listening, is we have a bill for $10,000 to Amoresco in addition to the $20,000 that is listed on this particular invoice to Amoresco. So I don't want to be double paying somebody is, I believe, our concern. I could be wrong. You guys can say what your thoughts are, but I would think that that is the concern of the council. We're not disputing the $5,378.85 to the attorney, because that would be the remaining out of the $25,378.85. Our dispute is with the $20,000 to Amoresco in this invoice, and then the $10,000 to Amoresco in the invoice we received from Amoresco, because I'm sure they're wanting their money too, and they're tired of waiting on Envoy.
From the explanation I received was the $10,000 was for the contract of $17,750. We paid them $7,500. That is the remaining due on that contract.
And that was for the work they had done previous to Envoy being involved to the courthouse.
That's the way I understand.
So this was free work that they had done in the hopes that we were going to do something with the courthouse, and they would just assume that $17,500. Now that we've decided we aren't doing anything to the courthouse, they want their money in addition to the contract with Envoy they have to do work on everything.
I don't know if that is in addition to or not. I'm assuming so, but the $20,000 is for work that they've done prior to the stop date.
Right.
Is what we have to we need to pay Envoy for.
Okay.
But the Amoresco bill, I mean, they were in here, is that for the humidity and all that? Because they were in here and said, we're gonna do all this for free for you to as a courtesy, and then if you have work done, we would like to be considered. And now they're billing us, is that for that work they're billing us for?
For the 20,000, it was part of that contract. And I think that was what they had expended up until that date.
Been nice to have seen the contract.
Right, because do we have two contracts, one for the 17.5 and then one with this other?
Yeah, I think that 22.9 figure, that's what was approved when that gentleman was here for.
Architecture.
Yes, that
And so I
came
think,
out of 48,000.
yeah, so I think, yeah, that invoice was for 48 for both of those.
And then
Less
you
that remained, that 25 number that she did.
Right.
Is my understanding.
Okay. I reached out to this Gay Goodstein from Amoresco because their email is on the invoice. It says attaches the credit memo to the original invoice of $17,500. The attached invoice for $10,000 is the then corrected invoice which states in the description, this invoice is for services associated with the facility condition assessment for the courthouse. The total contract value is $17,500. However, fees associated with the annex are included in the contract with Envoy.
So the 20,000 is for annex work.
Annex.
Okay, there's our explanation then.
10,000 for the courthouse, 20 for annex. Because I had questioned the invoice date and numbers were the same, and that's why I reached out, and
Right.
that was the explanation.
I may be thinking the wrong invoice, but I think the invoices had maybe one number at the end different and it said something about courthouse. Cause I remember looking at that and having the same confusion. I could be wrong, but I think you've just explained it correctly otherwise.
And it is, the last number is different, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We got our clarification we needed.
You guys can do this too. No, I have not seen any breakdown of what days this work was done, what I.
We don't know if we're paying an extra 10 or not.
No, that's the.
What happened to that $48,000? I mean, where is that?
Well, that's when you do the 48,000, you subtract out the 22,900 that we agreed to pay Architectura. Your remaining balance is the 25,378.85, of which 20,000 is Amoresco, $5,378.85 is attorney fees.
So when you go through that list, that on the invoice,
Yeah, once you add all
you
those
don't know
up,
where that money really, because you got three different figures. You got a $65,000 bill. I know it was all subtracted, but looks like to me that we're paying some extra money we don't need to. I agree. Let's get the real list.
If we pay this, it'll relieve us from any liability for potential lawsuit, correct me if I'm wrong, Taylor. And,
I would.
it's up to Envoy to dish the money out from that point. And
okay, so I want a letter written by an attorney, whether it be Taylor or Kent, that states the fact that once we pay this bill, we are done and no other bills that they, yes.
Any of the
Can't see
companies
process
that
of
are
drafting
tied in
release.
with it, like it pays them all.
So evidently Kent is in the works of writing that letter. That this is it. If we pay this bill, we're done, they're done, and don't think about sending any more bills because we're not gonna be paying anything else. If we agree to pay this bill. I say we do nothing till that letter is sitting right in front of us. once that letter is completed, that gives us time to get the dates figured out on the scope of work. Because like I've said before, I guess any date can be put on anything.
All we needed is a letter that's true, and you see numbers, where you started, where we end, and the date, and what it's for.
And I know it sounds repetitive, and I'm sure Envoy is getting frustrated, but we're frustrated too. And if they would like to receive payment, then they should send a letter that states, these are the dates that the work was performed. So we have proof. Because the constituents are going to say, why did you pay that bill when you don't have any dates? You set a date and they just sent you a bill that says it was done before June 12th, or it was done before May 13th.
Where's the stopping point? Right?
Well, the stopping point's going to be that letter.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's going to be the stopping point.
We like that railroad where they're needed, the bill is directly instead of the Envoy.
Unfortunately, it was a contract that Envoy had, and they just subcontracted with who they wanted to contract. They were acting as the general contractor.
But Amoresco sent a $10,000 bill. Is that gonna be something separate?
That's separate. That is separate work that was done here at the courthouse.
So that's not even.
That's not even part of this Envoy deal,
Envoy has Amoresco bill.
which is part of the annex work.
So we are gonna have to pay the 10,000 in addition to this bill.
Yes,
So Ken's putting together a letter for both Envoy and Architecture.
that this is final payment and they can't come back and send any more invoices.
Oh,
35,000. Well, the total will be 25,378.85 to Envoy. Then you got an additional 10,000 to Amoresco.
The part that goes to Amoresco from the original amount is for the annex, 20,000 of it.
Yeah, and the 10,000 is for of work that was done here, which the total bill was 17,500, of which we've already paid 7,500. So the 10,000 is the remaining. You know, we don't dispute that we owe a bill. We dispute how we got the bill, how it arrived at $25,378.85.
and what we got doesn't designate that. What we got, the email we got, doesn't really say that. These started at a total price.
Mhm.
And what you talked about, that's not really indicated. Those bills are all separated. That
Right.
extra $10,000, we're separating it now, like we figured it out.
Well,
but they don't
she received an email that indicated what it exactly was the difference between the two. And she got that from, I believe, Amoresco.
Yes, I did.
Her name was Gay Horenstein, or his name was Gay Horenstein, or something like that.
That's when he wants to read it.
Facility condition assessment for the courthouse.
Was that the 17.5?
Yeah, so by, say. What did they do? What do we have? What is this?
A breakdown.
Yeah, what's the breakdown on that? And then just the bill and. We don't know what we got.
Right. And does it match what the contract says?
You don't
That
have
they
a
would-
contract, you have?
I don't think I do. I will look to make sure, but a lot of that stuff was not close to me.
Let me see if I might have it in an email.
I want to make sure that's not for the, when they came in and checked the.
Community.
And all that,
Mhm.
because that was, they were doing that for free. And then now, so what was this contract for? What did they do? For that, I'll let you guys.
Think on that.
You are the ones that's gonna be on here and see.
Okay, I've got something here. Believe it or not, I have a letter. Dear Commissioners, this was dated October 3rd of 2023. Per our agreement dated August 22nd, 2023, Amoresco has prepared a facility condition assessment as related to the MEP systems for the following facilities: the Fountain County Courthouse and the Fountain County Annex. The goal of the FCA is to determine the current MEP system deficiencies and estimate costs associated with the repair and replacement to make the building useful for coming decades. And then it gives an executive report on the annex. Talks about plumbing and mechanicals and all that. And so there's that one. Then I have another one here. Maybe she sent it to me twice, but that's the annex. And this one is the courthouse, and they give a summary report. This was sent to me from Brenda. And so it talks about everything they did here. So it talks about the mechanical systems. It talks about the electrical systems, the plumbing systems, the fire protection. And so in conclusion, it gives you a conclusion that if the county courthouses remain as is, the existing systems located in the courthouse building require moderate replacement work. And if it's to be renovated, Amoresco would recommend fully replacing all mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems to ensure reliable operation in the future. It talked about getting a new HVAC system and how they would go about that. And it gives total of cost of the total system upgrade to $2 to $2.6 million. And that was from Brad Driver. And it was dated October 3rd. So I'm assuming that 20,000 would be that work.
I have one from 8143.
So that would be the same thing then, probably.
Moresco project open agreement is pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Did you read that?
Yes. I didn't read the one from Ken.
Amoresco will complete analysis of mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Based on the audit analysis, Amoresco will prepare scope of work project proposal for upgrading all the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. If you approve the project proposal and its cost, then Amoresco will provide a proposed energy service agreement. If you accept and enter into the ESA, then Amoresco bills the project development costs into the ESA costs. If you don't enter into the ESA within 30 days of receiving the project proposal, the county must pay Amoresco $17,500.
So that's where the 17.5 comes from.
There's two important issues for you to consider. First, the main issue before before going into this agreement is to make sure funds are appropriated to pay $17,500. And Amoresco's work in the event the county doesn't enter into the ESA. Although relations with the council appear to be improved, I can't recommend extending the agreement funding in that amount isn't already appropriated until the council approves an additional appropriation for that amount. So that's where 75 is.
Colleen, what do you have the date when we paid that 7,500? I remember doing it, but I don't remember a date. And that was 8-1, and then I got the letter. The forwarded letter to me on 8/20, 8/3 or something like that. So the way I read that, Jeff, is if we enter into the agreement, they're not gonna charge us the 17.5. If we don't enter into the agreement, they're gonna charge us the 17.5. We didn't enter into the agreement
You're charging us $17.
and we already paid 7,500, so we owe that to Amoresco. And that separate invoice. What are you thinking, Tom?
What you have read, correct? Remember the booklet they handed out to us? It was forward right down the line. What I'm not sure of was that 17.5. And also, we did not approve any of that. So what they're saying is regardless of what we did or not,
We owe that.
we have to pay that because the commissioners did approve. So again, that puts us back into your state law again. You know, and also a bit of, that's right. That's right. So, and here we are backing up a problem that we don't get sued because our word meant nothing. And here we are at the last minute, colleague just read, hey, you mean you tabled this? That's where we are. And, but what she read, and all we have to look at, if we're gonna get sued, it's gonna be more than what we think we're gonna have to pay.
They did an audit analysis, so that might be worth $10,000.
Yeah.
He's got a copy of that. On the analysis. Do you have a copy of it? Have you seen it?
Well, Tom and I have figured out that we've saved every paper ever given to us in every meeting, so we probably have it somewhere. It might take us a half a second, you know, to
Give it a day or two.
pull it out.
I filled up my car twice with just county business from TMF.
Isn't it crazy? It's just crazy. Tom said his was in his garage. He better be careful because he might not have enough protection on that garage.
Hey, listen, our presidents can get away with that stuff like it. Both of those guys.
Is that where you, hey, I just want to know, is that where you keep your Corvette?
If I did, I wouldn't be sitting here. No, I think.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do about 10,000 and 25,000 plus?
I think we need a paper. Taylor, we need something concrete for the county stating these fees in order. And then I think we'll have a better idea of when we're supposed to pay these things, or can we pay these things? I don't want to be sued, but I don't want to be taken advantage of. So if we do owe money as before that, our date, then I say pay that.
Well,
And that's just $10,000 to Ameresco.
yeah, I think, and I understand what Dudley's saying too. We've never seen the actual agreement or the work that they have performed on the courthouse per se, but then there again, that's kind of not our job, and we've been told to stay in our lane before. But I think when we're paying bills, we kind of have to know what we're paying a bill on.
So what would happen then if?
I think that in order to pay the $10,000, we need to have something that shows what we are paying.
Right.
I'm not doubting that we owe that money. And we need something that says definitive what the scope of work, the $20,000 includes. And if we can get those things, I think we can kind of move forward.
What they're for, how much it is, signed off, that's it.
And the letter from Kent, and I think you're right on that, Taylor. I think that's what Aaron had said to me.
Yeah, last night, Thursday or Friday is last.
Yeah.
So if we got sued, Taylor, if we didn't do this, we got sued, how quick would that action happen?
I mean, they've been submitting this bill for a while. They could have.
They could have it ready
They
to
could do
go.
it in 2 weeks. And I mean, then you're gonna pay, just from my pragmatic lawyer standpoint, you're gonna immediately drop $15,000-$20,000 to Barnes to defend you. And they say, okay, well, it wasn't 28, it was 26. Okay, well, then you drop 15 to 20 to Barnes. And then you're dropping, like you said, you go something to Envoy, then you're dropping 75-80% of that to them too. Again, just from what I have to tell people, which is, hey, here's the pragmatic.
And they could make it that in the agreement that we pay for their attorney fees as
Correct.
well.
Yes, and I've gotten,
So-
just so everybody knows, I've gotten calls. I think he's associated, maybe a vice president at Amoresco, like people are calling me, talking about
This,
trying to get through to me on, hey, here's the situation. What do you know about it?
so basically you're gonna pay more than what you owe.
That's right, that's what I'm saying.
So can
And that was.
we make it that? And I would probably vote to pay these if it's in there that one, we get a copy of the contract, we get a signed agreement that there'll be no more bills. We get a copy of what their assessment was for that 17,500. And we get a copy of the complete assessment from Envoy of all the work they've done. If they provide all of those, then I would agree to pay it if there's a motion with those things in it. Will that work?
It works for me.
Denise, what do you think?
Yeah,
And to get rid
I
of
think we're
it.
gonna have to pay them.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with it. I think we were backed into a
Let's
corner,
just get rid of
but
it.
that's been the story for the last 2 years, so.
Yes.
If they give us
I
that,
mean, they've tied our hands. We're gonna be sued and we're not gonna let them stand on because of what they've signed, I think, so.
in the future.
Mhm.
The last thing I have is this project development agreement.
I'll carry over.
It serves for some compensation if we go through the entire process for some reason Fountain County does not capital NOT to want to move forward, and Moresco would get some reimbursement for our work. And that this is talking to Brenda. Commissioner.
What do you think, Jim?
I agree with Dudley. But put those clauses in.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
Their motion then.
We've had you wrote down the motion.
No, I would kindly,
Full description,
more clarification.
full description.
Fine.
That we will approve to pay these. Divided, we get a copy of the contract from Amoresco, because you don't have a copy of that contract. And a copy of their assessment that they did for that 17,500. We want to see the complete assessment
And this is from.
Amoresco. And then we have a signed agreement prepared by the attorney that there'll be no more bills for annex courthouse from any of these.
Highway to.
I mean, highway. Okay.
Okay. Copy of contract from Amoresco, copy assessments, signed agreement by attorney, lower bills for the 3 projects, highway.
From Amoresco, Envoy.
And any others. Mhm.
Yeah. Architecture. Get them out of our hair and.
Start fresh.
Fresh on January 1.
And I assume, Taylor, when we say any companies involved in the project, that Architectura would have to sign something as well as Amoresco and Envoy.
I mean, they could. Envoy's technically the only one needs to because they were the general, and really everything under them, they should go to them, right? Amoresco has a problem. Secure has a problem, it should go through Envoy, because other than this other 17.5 we're talking about, we don't have any privity with the others, because that was all.
Should they be named in the letter, though?
They don't have to be. If they are, fine.
Or
I would say
I mean,
Envoy. It's-
You could say basically Envoy is the acting general contractor.
Yes, that Amoresco is sending us a separate.
Right, so there'll probably have to be a separate letter presented to them for that scope of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we get all the
And then
papers.
text that says, Ken will have the agreement ready for the commissioners this afternoon.
So we need to have an additional letter generated that has one just specifically for Amoresco in this scope of work for the 17.5.
What'd you say about this afternoon?
He'll have the letter drawn up for them to sign. Okay, so you got all that down?
Yes.
So is there a motion for that?
And we'll pay it contingent upon this.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to physically see it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I go to the window.
Stare down there. Okay, since I said I agree with these, I guess I'll vote. I'm not happy about it. But
Agreed.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
6-0.
There's one other thing I think we need to
But it's contingent.
for all these people coming on that without a contract. Council's not gonna sign something that we are not
I
responsible.
think we'll have a couple commissioners that'll make sure that. And I hope they don't ever do business with.
Well, their Hamilton County situation speaks volumes.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm already paying for the whole meeting, is that gonna be?
I've seen him here.
Todd was here and sat in the back.
Oh, that's Todd.
You got it cut out.
I got it.
Do you have anything else? Any other public comment?
Only was for email me the final
Give that to
budget
Dudley.
figures.
Yeah.
Hey,
Balance it.
when you got to the back town,
And I will get
you're
that
gonna
out
drop
to you.
15 to 20,000
Yeah.
here,
I.
15 to 20,000 there.
Okay.
You got three
Is
thousand.
there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Okay,
Denise a second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we're done.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, but you can motion.
I appreciate
I checked you.
I appreciate it.